The preparation format is having some technical issues, so Infinity Learning Space has the space for that. There you must think as an accountant, finance analyst, great marketing person, HR person, entrepreneur, risk taker. That is called strategic mindset. The case study is all about it. So we will do the best for you to understand, connect, and the understanding of art of writing excellent answers for a case study. It's very tastiest option.
Hello and welcome to Infinity Learning Space, where we bring to you Learning Pod. And we are absolutely thrilled to have one of the 5 experts, 5 veterans of our case study lecturers. We have with us Professor Ravi Dissanayake. Hello to you, sir.
Hi, hello.
Yes, so as mentioned, Professor Ravi Dissanayake is a distinguished academic holding 2 PhDs, one which includes PhDs specialized in case study with the Best Paper Award for it, which means that Professor Ravi brings unparalleled expertise, and he is also the former head of the Department of Marketing Management of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies at the University of California, and he is also the director of the Staff Development Center of University of California. Well, Professor, it's good to have you back. This is our second podcast together. How are you feeling?
Yeah, very exciting, and I do enjoy this one, and yes. I'm looking forward to contribute my expertise on this subject domain.
Absolutely. Well, we are very excited to have you, and this one is very special for us because case study, the final run for the students, and it's also, as mentioned, it's not something that is to relearn. Instead, it's to use a strategic mind, and who better to speak to than someone like you, sir, who has a PhD specializing in case study. Well, okay, so a lot of people say that case study has a lot of different techniques, different subject areas included. Is this really the most challenging exam for the final one that is kept for the students?
It's rather, I do say, this is how students perceive it. But for me, because I'm not coming from hardcore accounting background, I do come from marketing, but my major area is strategy, and I love case studies. So then if you looked at the chartered accountancy professional course, the case study, it doesn't go with what you call the hardcore accounting discipline only. So this is where the student should think about little mind transformation of how it should be looked at. So the way how students get ready and how students looked at the document, the case study, the pre-scene, and how they get ready for the post-scene paper at the examination day, that of discipline should be trained, should be practiced. I think this is going to be the most easiest course to read.
Okay.
Because I have seen with experiences, if you looked at this pass rate or fail rate, that's going to be the immediate KPI for this subject as well. Rather, more than students get failed not because of their having the experts knowledge on that, the preparation issue. I think that's where even teachers are responsible. The preparation issue is the bottleneck where students face, and sometimes they can't cross the line. Not because of this course unit, the case study is difficult. The preparation format is having some technical issues, so Infinity Learning Space has the space for that.
Absolutely. And Infinity Learning Space has 5 veterans, which we are very excited to proceed and talk to as well. And okay, so talking about Infinity Learning Space and how we have such experienced lecturers that are going to be teaching our wonderful students. We have experts in different areas, for example, case study. Then we also have financial reporting, financial management, experts in research study, taxation, everything is covered. In your opinion, how do you think Infinity Learning Space takes that approach? How does Infinity Learning Space approach this subject, what exactly do we do different?
Yeah, we have fantastic panel, and we have had a couple of discussions how we have to craft the final solution for students. So we will basically go through the three main teaching pillars. One is the technical pillar,
Okay.
where this is being accounting professional course, obviously not the hardcore, but there are compulsory components of accounting. So that accounting components, we take it as one of the pillars. So there will be a technical training, technical guiding of how to read the figure, rather calculate the figure.
Okay.
How to read the figure and connect to the 360-degree thinking. Because case study, what the learning outcome is a strategist, not accountant, not even marketer, not even HR specialist, strategist. So for that, our panel will guide you for sure with a 100% contentful strategy of how to make our students get well ready to understand the figure and then connect to the case story. That's one part of it.
Okay.
Second comes at that's going to be the hardcore part of it.
Yeah.
Because why we prepare the case study, and now I'm thinking as a paper setter, not for
Okay.
this exam, right? As university level,
Yeah.
even I do teach the same subject in universities. What our mind is not to assess the knowledge and memory of students through case study,
Okay.
but we need to assess the holistic thinking, analytical skills, and the application to the given context. For that, we need to have strategic thinking and strategic training, and how you looked at organization, the given case story as organization next level of improvement. So that's going to be the strategic pillar.
Okay.
So we will guide you with a fantastic set of examples, how you read the case study and then how you think as a strategist.
Okay.
So normal to the corporate level thinking. That's number 2. And number 3, we will guide you for sure the technique of understanding the question and presentation. For example, any given case study question, we ask the question like discuss, explain, critically evaluate.
Yeah.
So each term has its own specific spectrum to answer. So we will guide that part as well. So these 3 plus other value addition come from taxing, even maybe like sustainability, ethics. Now you can see the last set of papers, they talk about the case to last 2 paragraphs. All about this sustainability, ethics come in. So you can see this is not testing your accounting knowledge. We should not test accounting knowledge, because finally we produce an accountant not to make that student, pack with the accounting function. The day comes for them to reach for the GM and above, one day the C-suite level. There you must think as an accountant, finance analyst, great marketing person, HR person, entrepreneur, risk taker. That is called strategic mindset. The case study is all about it.
Okay.
So you can enjoy this paper because it's not a hardcore calculation. It's all about how you read the story, absorb the story, be a part of that story, because you have to be kind of a protagonist character within the case study. Okay, if I happen to answer for this question as I was one of the directors, how I should look at this one? So you must read the case story and be a part of the case study or case story, what do you say? Then you will understand the passion of writing the excellent answer.
Okay.
So we will definitely guide them.
Wow, okay, so there's definitely nothing to worry about for our students, because as Professor mentioned, you will be and you are always under the guidance of wonderful experts and veterans in the industry. So there's nothing to worry about. And okay, Professor, since you mentioned about case examples in the case study, I'm just gonna throw in a question about how there are obviously a lot of different critical areas, different critical issues that are integrated within the case study. So how do the students actually identify which one is important, or do they have to identify each one, or can they prioritize it? What's your take
It's
on
like
that?
this. The best thing is you read a couple of 2 or 3 case study papers and see the question patterns. I don't say the same question would repeat,
Yeah.
but this is a world, very small world, right? So
Yeah.
you have to play within that given space,
Yeah.
and then you can understand the way how the case study has been organized and how the question 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 had been asked. So if you looked at the critical thing, any case study or case story will start with the preface.
Okay.
That preamble will give you some sort of idea how the company was formed, how the company was started, and the frame, and then the transformation into a professional level, like typical entrepreneurship comes into a professional organization setup. Then the new owners come in. You can see a story, right? So everywhere when the one paragraph talks about some incident, there indirectly they mention what is the main area of subject connectivity. For example, the private limited company finally they wanted to transform this into professional setup with the board of directors coming. So the story will tell. So one come from the hardcore accounting background, second one was in another country after his or her master's qualification came here, and then he was given the responsibility of strategic direction and the market development part. So you have to understand. So this is going to be like market expansion strategy. The corporate strategy comes in, growth strategy comes in, and sometimes they talk about what has happened. So they merge with another supplier. That's a story.
Yeah.
So now remember in this qualification you have come to a level where all the fundamental courses are being taught and learnt.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't think as first level, second level now. You are now at exactly the level 5, the pinnacle point.
Yeah.
So you have to understand what it does mean. These are the critical matters. You can understand the case story in 2 areas: functional matters, strategic matters, at least. Right? So this is what obviously when someone sits for the first time, he or she should have been given good training.
Yeah.
We will definitely do, but I will say openly as a responsible academia in this country, teachers can't pass students. If teachers can pass students, actually there's something wrong with the exam. But we will do our best, where you have to put your 50 as well. Right? So this is what we say, but don't worry about it. Is 100% guaranteed. Our expert panel, we have very good integrated thinking. So we will do the best for you to understand, connect, and the understanding of art of writing excellent answers for a case study is very tastiest option.
Okay, very interesting. And since you mentioned about that, I'm also going to say that because you mentioned about how students should, they need to put in their fair share of work, and how they also, like if they look into past papers and all of that. I'm gonna add a question there, because something that I've personally heard is that a lot of students have mentioned that it's not like the past papers. When they sit for it, they come back and they're like, it wasn't like what we have learned. It's not like how the past papers were before. In such an instance, because you mentioned about integrated thinking, can you elaborate a little bit about that? Because how do they, if it's not how they have learnt it, if it's not how they have practiced it, how can they actually use the knowledge to put in strategic decisions for the case study?
So in my democracy, for the first question, I will not take the student side.
Okay.
If students expect same case study to come for the examination, there's a huge problem in the setup of exam.
Correct.
I don't think this wonderful qualification professional body would do that mistake. Case study should be new. But the second one, that's where I'm in favor of student thinking. This case study is about strategy, right? And for the strategy, the world has accepted. Even the newly published literature theories have accepted what should be covered for the term of strategy. Every other paper, if you just look at it, this is not being changed. For example, environmental analysis, yeah, it's a big part of it. growth strategy formation, be a part of it, and then efficiency and even integration strategies, forward, backward integration strategies, part of it. And sometimes you can see in between the new knowledge comes in, change management comes in, transformation comes in, probably the leadership challenges and issues comes in. So that's the strategy. But stories are different, but the seeds are same.
Yeah.
And now I have seen the trend of getting involved in climate change, sustainability, ethics. Now remember, these are not just talk of the world.
Yeah.
It is the talk of the town now. So even Sri Lankan accountants definitely have to address this climate change, sustainability, responsiveness. So why not these things should be tested? Should be tested. So if you looked at the main areas of strategy, main area of accounting, not the principal level, accounting application levels, marketing strategy development levels, it is there in case study. That notions will be repeated, but the stories are different.
Okay.
Maybe the question patterns are different. But students, I request, don't expect same type of a story will come, same flow will be there, first starting and then the new owners come in and the third generation comes in. Come on, this is not, and you are reading a novel, you are reading a business story. So that's what we guide them. Guide for essential skill side, essential knowledge side for them. Thirdly, how to read and narrate and connect the case study insight into the subject matters.
Okay.
That we will guide you. However, students should get like open mind readiness. Okay, I know the whole hardcore tool set now, right? I don't know what would be the battlefield, but I have the weapon set. So you can't expect the battlefield, right? That's the examination. But we will encourage, we will ensure you get the right tool of weapons, set of weapons, sorry. So then there you are ready. Go and take it.
Yeah.
So that's what the best advice I can give them.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter if you're only prepared. I mean, obviously, they won't be only prepared for pre-scene when it comes to unseen as well. So, since you mentioned how you will be guiding them, a lot of people, it's very easy rather to, not very easy, but it's comparatively better or easier to prepare for the pre-scene, what we already see,
Yeah.
compared to the unseen elements of it. So would you say that our students can be prepared based on the set of tools that you mentioned?
Obviously, I think this is like common practice for this teaching. Now, when you have been given the pre-scene case study, so I mean, what are the roles of the students and the teachers? Somebody should analyze it. Somebody should narrate it. Somebody should mind map the big story into connected story. Okay, now it's fine. Then, pre-scene, we can predict
Yeah.
why this type of a paragraph was included, why this type of new notion suddenly came to the document. Rather going for a merge, why the organization directors were arguing of acquiring a company. So now we have some sort of a brain to predict what sort of answers would come for the exam,
Yeah.
right? So that's what the preparation we have to make. That's what I'm saying. Like this is maybe like 3 pages, 4 pages, so some numbers of pages of document. However, we can't go beyond the expected or accepted inclusions of business strategy. Any given case study will be placed, will be structured on these major areas of business strategy.
Okay.
So pre-scene will be kind of a practice pasture for you to predict, work with the tutors or lecturers, and even in the future programs, before the document is seen and after seeing it. So what we guide you all, why this type of a paragraph suddenly came in,
Yeah.
why not this happened, this has happened. So these things we guide them.
Okay.
So then your mind you get trained, okay, if this type of a case question would come for the examination, this is the way I should have answered.
Right. So they know.
That's the preparation part.
Yeah.
So some students still get in panic on this. I don't categorize student into two, weak student and excellent student for case study.
Yeah. Everyone.
Well prepared students and not prepared.
Okay.
That's the best answer.
Yeah.
Go and hammer it. That's all.
Yes, and they surely will with all our wonderful panel of lecturers that we have with Infinity Learning Space. And also, sir, we have a quick question for you relating to writing,
Yeah.
because case study is about writing as well. A lot of students find writing very hard to do. Even though they know the subject, they can very well use the strategic mind, but can they actually put it into writing? I'm not sure. How do you say, or what would you say they can do to master the skill of writing?
Yeah, obviously it's three areas. One is understanding the technicality of the question. So while some students they say, okay, we did excellent, in Sinhala we call a dunna bate, right?
Yeah.
But fine, when the results comes, we have to reverse back the question again,
Yeah.
right? Why it happened is they do not understand the technical meaning of the question. When the questioners critically evaluate, don't just explain it. Critically evaluate. You have to say why this has happened, is it good or bad, and what is your suggestion. Critically evaluate. Explain. So you explain what has happened with the relevant theories and you elaborate it. Discuss. Explain plus discuss. Discuss, you have to have a good narrating skill now. Connect with some other evidences given in the maybe third para and the fifth para. You connect and discuss. That's called discuss part. That's the first thing you must learn, right? For the better preparation of this one, for the case study question. And the other thing is connect and application of the theories and models. You are not writing just a story, right? Remember, the case study answering, it doesn't mean like you talk complete practical side. Yes, you have to use the relevant theories and models. Sometimes the question they directly ask, sometimes indirectly providing some hints. So then you have to associate theoretical model or a theory and then explain how this company has to work on that, or how your suggested solution is linked with the framework or specified model. Because in your entire course, finally when you come to the business case study, the final laps of the race is a connectivity of all the subject you have learned.
Yep.
So you have the democracy of connecting what you have learned.
Yeah.
Right? Rather, I'm talking of my all subjective knowledge. I have to write objective theory into this one.
Okay.
Right? If your time permits, normally at the end of the case study, you get some annexures, figures, accounts, and maybe like 2-3 pages, maybe 2 pages. It's not very hardcore accounting technicalities. These annexures will provide you some supportives to develop your answer. So that's where you have to understand that there's a role you have to play as applied accountant.
Yeah.
Applied accountant.
Okay.
So in this case study training, rather you think as an accountant, you think as applied accountant. For the next 2 years of growth strategy of the organization, how my company should improve the cost efficiency. So one side they talk about competitive strategy, like maybe example like cost leadership, but the figures tell us this company is not in the discipline of cost efficiency, because all the management accounting and the costing side it nicely explains your cost structure is very bad in the company, in the industry, sorry. So you have to have a kind of a rethinking of how the company should improve the efficiency first, because evidences have been given.
Okay.
That's why you have to think about whether I'm an applied accountant, right? So this is how the practice should be. This is the way students should develop the answer. Otherwise, you might think you wrote the excellent answer. No. Your paper setter is your customer, right? Now, you have to be a good marketer when you write case study. It's about the communication skill as well. So, all together, you can do a wonderful job.
Wonderful. And okay, so I have one last question to ask you in favor of students that are watching us. What are the common mistakes, the most common mistakes that students usually make when sitting for SL5?
Yeah, I'm talking about the writing part. While this is the product,
Yeah.
you finally give it to examiner. They write linear answers,
Okay.
which is not the way how case study based exams expect the answers. You have to write 360-degree answers. So that's what I said at the beginning of this little discussion. Don't write answers as you mean you are an accountant. You write answers assuming, absorbing the character of I am a decision maker. So then when you write answers, first look at the simple thing. Look at how many marks been allocated.
Okay.
4 marks, 6 marks, 10 marks. Then you have to understand the gravity of your answer. So the regular mistakes students do, and they think they have given the excellent answer. No. In case studies, we are expecting solution, not the answers. I think you got my point.
Yeah.
Students, remember in future, in a case study, you write solution, not the answers. Solutions means what? It should cover the short term, long term, accounting side, marketing side, sustainability side, whatnot. That's going to be the 360-degree approach of answering. The big mistake students do in this one. Second one, the big mistake they do is integration is not as such established.
Okay.
You must integrate your answer or solution, I would say. Integration means when the question is asked about a comment on the change strategy, you write how this company should change, corporate change. Connect your answer and how to execute it, what the outcome. That's going to be the integration, because we will judge you whether this man can be a strategist one day.
Yeah.
So we don't put all these technical terms and say you are supposed to write this one, that one. No, come on. That's what the preparation practice you should have it. And the third one, I don't say it is language, but is a matter of the communication. Definitely, we have one expert panelist involved for our panel. Definitely, that teacher will guide you how to nicely narrate, communicate, and conclude a super answer. The communication mistake. Communication mistake means you write what you call the hardcore content, but connectivities are missing. The very good case study should have what you call way forward or conclusion remark. That is missing.
Okay.
So these things are usually I have seen as technical mistakes students do. But their mind says they have done a wonderful answer.
Yeah.
Yes, but it is not the expectation of your examiner.
Yep, but I guess that will exactly be guided by you along with our 4 other lecturers that are going to be guiding all our students that are going to be sitting for SL5. Well, that is it with our questions for today, but we're obviously looking forward to speaking to you once again in the future very soon as well. Thank you very much, Professor, for speaking to us, for giving us your insights, and for simply being with Infinity Learning Space. We absolutely love it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, and I wish all the very best for the future students, our customers one day, and make sure to have your space with Infinity Learning Space. So I will definitely contribute for my big part of this case study, course study, and looking forward to serve the best as promised. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that is it from Learning Pod for today. Stay tuned with Learning Pod, brought to you by Infinity Learning Space, as we bring you even more interesting and exciting content with all our experts, our veterans in the industry, as we speak to them about different and varying topics regarding the industry.